What would I do different if I started my gutter business today? Now, here I am, 10 years and 2 months later, I guess a month and a half later, from when I actually started my gutter business. And what would I do differently today, having 10 years, 1.5 months more wisdom, I guess. My wife might argue differently, but what would I do with the business wisdom now if I were to start? Well, let's dig into it, all right? So what I did when I started this gutter business, I guess I gotta kind of set the stage on that. I had a wife who was a stay-at-home mom to our 6-month-old kid. Historically, I had made between $40,000 and $45,000 a year the prior couple of years, and that was enough for us to live on. Now, times were a little bit different back then than they are today, but this was 2016, all right? So that was livable. And I started the business with maybe like $1,000 to my name. I was dependent on paychecks, basically. We were saving a little bit, but I'm talking maybe like $100, $120 per paycheck, all right? We were not saving money really. We were one transmission or something away from not losing everything, but not having a savings account, right? So what I had to do to get my gutter business going, I drove a 1991 GMC pickup truck with a 350 5-speed. It was a pretty cool truck, but it's a regular cab, short bed, nothing fancy, all right? It's not like I had a truck and a trailer and all this stuff already ready to roll. So I drove my truck 3 hours to get my gutter machine. I pulled in and it had burned so much oil, as 350s love to do, that it was knocking like a son of a gun when I got there. Thank God the guy buying it was a mechanic, or that was buying the gutter machine from was a mechanic, and he had some oil. Bought my gutter machine for $2,600, and it came with like probably 200, 250 pounds worth of white gutter coil, 5-inch only at that point. I borrowed $2,600 from my folks, all right? So I borrowed $2,600 from them. I bought a box truck for $1,500. Now, I was working at a supply house, so I knew that this contractor owed money to the supply house, and I went to him and was like, hey, you wanna sell one of your 3 box trucks? He goes, yeah, actually, I wanna get rid of this one. I said, sweet, I'll pay you, but with credit card, and I'm gonna pay it where I work, so you can actually start buying materials from us again. He goes, oh, perfect, great. So that was 0% interest for I think 18 months or something like that. So let's rack up the debt here, all right? So $1,500 for the box truck, $2,600 to my parents, all right? Both were 0%, thank you, mom and dad. And then I had a Lowe's credit card, and it was 0% for 6 months, all right? So I went and I bought $1,000 worth of, I bought Porter cable, drill and impact. I bought a couple levels, just some miscellaneous tools and a couple ladders. I think I spent like $1,200-ish on that. It was 0% for 6 months. All right, so $1,800 plus 12, or I'm sorry, $1,500 plus $1,200 is $2,700 plus $2,600. That gets us to $5,300, all right? Then I had to do like miscellaneous stuff. I had to paint the box truck. I had to build a website, buy the domain, like let's say all in. And then I spent a lot of money on getting a logo on the side of that thing. So let's say I was $8,000 total into this thing, all on credit cards, really, other than mom and dad. And then I just started calling everybody that I knew and telling them what I was doing. That was great. That worked out really well. So that's how I kind of got my bearings in the industry. What I would do today if I started, let's say I was in the same position where I didn't really have any money or anything, right? Let's say here I am 10 years later and I've got, instead of $1,000, I got $3,000 to my name because of inflation, all right, whatever. How would I get started? Well, I wouldn't go buy material. I wouldn't go buy a truck and a gutter machine and all this stuff. What I would do is call up some roofers in town and be like, hey, who do you use for your gutters? And figure out who their subcontractors are. And then I'd call those subcontractors and say, hey, how much, I do roofing and I have some gutter jobs that need to get done. Like, what do you guys charge per foot? And I'd learn what they charge per foot. Now, nationally, a lot of these subcontractors charge $6 to $8 per lineal foot right now, here 2026, all right? It's crazy, I don't know how they make any money, but it is besides the point. I would learn that, and because I'm in Remoteville, Michigan, it's not really Remoteville, we just live in the middle of nowhere, but let's say it's $10 per foot. Okay, cool, for $10 per foot, I can pay these people to come and do the gutters for me. I don't have to buy a truck, I don't have to buy a machine, I don't have to buy tools, I don't have to, none of that stuff, insurance, any of it. My job needs to be selling for more money than that, all right? if I'm leaving a job that pays me $100,000, let's just call it, let's just make it even numbers. Let's say $104,000 a year. I make $2,000 per week at my job. So let's be realistic and say, in order for me to make that $2,000 per week, my business has to make $3,000 per week. We're not spending a ton of money on marketing. We don't have an office. We don't have employees or any of that stuff, but I have insurance and I have, marketing spend and all that fun stuff. So I have to make $3,000 per week in order to bring home $2,000 myself and maintain the lifestyle that I have. All right. So $3,000 per week is what I'm after. Well, if I know that they charge $10 per foot for them to provide material, show up, do the install, all that stuff. If I'm like, all right, if I sell for $15 per foot, how many feet is that? How many feet do I have to sell to make $3,000 in profit? To make $3,000, divide that by 5, which is the difference, all right? So I have to sell 600 feet of gutter. Well, in my area, the average house is about 120, 130 feet. All right, so let's divide that by 120, that's 5 jobs. I have to sell 5 jobs a week at that price difference, all right? But if I take that, and what if I made my price $20 per foot rather than 15? So 3,000, divide that by 10, which would be the $10 per foot profit. Now I only have to do 300 feet. If I divide that by 120 feet, that's 2.5 jobs. So 2 or 3 jobs per week is all I need to replace my current income. Holy smokes, life gets really freaking easy if I can just do that, right? That's what I would do. I would just basically become a sales company and sub out my labor and let my business grow a financial bank account, and so that then I can buy the truck and the gutter machine and all this fun stuff, all right? But I'm gonna use those subs as long as I can. And guess what? If I start giving them 10 jobs a week, I might be able to renegotiate that and be like, look, hey, I'm giving you guys so much work. Is there any way that we can do this for $8 per foot? Yeah, sure, boss, absolutely. Like, you're keeping us busier than we've ever been. Awesome, sweet. Well, that's that part, all right? That's the math part of how I would start it and why it would logically make sense. Now, you might be saying, yeah, but Colin, how am I gonna get those jobs? Well, let's talk about that, all right? I mentioned what I did, and that's exactly what I would do again. I'd call everybody on my contact list and tell them what I'm doing and ask them if they have any friends or family that need my help. And that would work like gangbusters. I would post about it regularly on social media. I would have a website built, just a simple basic one. Google is crazy important. I would incentivize my customers like crazy to leave me reviews because that's super important. I would contact all the supply houses, not just gutter supply houses, but roofing. I would call all the roofers and say, hey, I'd love to partner with you. I don't do sub work, but if your customers need gutters and you want to send them my way, I would love to deal with them. Yeah, absolutely. I need to send roofers. I need somebody to send my clients to for roofing. Boom, play the game. I would then start calling every other business owner. Yeah, just business owner, all right? I don't care if they're veterinarians, florists, flooring companies, you name it. I'm gonna call all of them and introduce myself and tell them what I'm doing and ask them how I can refer people to their business. You might say, Colin, how are you gonna refer people to a florist? Well, like flower company, right? Somebody that provides flowers for weddings and whatnot. Well, guess what? I know people who get married. I don't know about y'all, but I know people who get married. And if I call Sam and say, hey, Sam, my name's Colin. I just started this gutter company, blah, 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 blah. And every now and then, my customers get gutters because they're landscaping. They're tired of it getting washed out and they need a place to get flowers. Like, is that what you do? Oh no, Colin, I don't do that. I just do weddings and stuff. Like, I do arrangements. I don't actually like sell potable things that you plant in the ground. Like, oh, okay, cool. Well, like, who's your target audience? And like, fathers on Mother's Day, they buy a lot from us. We do a lot for funerals and things like that. And then of course, weddings. Like, oh, well, I know people who die or like who have family members die. So I could refer you to them. Yeah, that'd be great. Like, and I have friends who are getting married. Like, I could refer you to them too. Yeah, absolutely. And you just start talking about it, right? Tell me about your business. Like, what does an average wedding cost for you to provide flowers? And just learn about their business. By the end, guess what? They're gonna be like, what did you say that you do again? Oh, I do seamless gutters. You know what? My mom was actually just talking about getting gutters. Can I give her this number? Yeah, please. I love that. Okay, absolutely. Guess what? This equals a lot of jobs for $0. And guess what else it equals? You knowing people and people knowing you, and that equaling a lot more jobs in the future. If people like you, they're going to refer people to you. All right. That's exactly what I did to build my business. All right? I just let everybody in the community know who I was and what I was doing. All right. Now, there is a little downside to doing this. When your business grows and you can't be the guy anymore, when I quit being the sales rep, when I quit installing gutters for my own company, there was a lot of people who quit using my services, right? Not because my team sucked or whatever, but because they didn't get to deal with me anymore. And it felt a little bit less personal, which I can understand, but I also am like, come on, like, just getting the same great service. Like, why are you gonna quit referring us, right? That is something you will have to overcome when that point hits in your business. So I still recommend doing it that way, but just maybe like prepare your customers a little bit better, especially if you have big referral partners. I can think of a gal named Janet who owns Janet's Roofing here, and she is fantastic. I mean, because of her, I made 6 figures my first year in business. She referred probably 40 jobs to us, which was massive. And year 2, very similar. Year 3, I quit selling and she missed me. Her exact words, like, yeah, Colin, I missed not having you show up on my jobs. And I didn't really like the guy that you were sending. I'm like, well, why didn't you tell me? I trust your judge of character. Why didn't you just tell me? Anyways, you'll deal with a little bit of that. So call everybody. Let everybody know who you are, what you're doing. There's 0 people, like 0 other businesses that you should not call. Meaning, if you are driving down the road and you see a business, I don't care if it's a cash advance, call them up. Like, whatever, call everybody. Everybody should know who you are and what you're doing. That's how you grow your business, all right? This is all free. And then as your business starts making money, then you can start putting in a little less effort on that side of things and start hiring more of that out, all right? You can start spending some money on digital marketing. You can spend some money on SEO. You can spend some money on all that stuff. But I don't ever recommend just like quitting. Like, you have to hustle. Like, if you're building a gutter business and you stop hustling before you hit 10 million, what the heck are you doing? Why are you coasting? You need to be getting after it, pushing the envelope and growing this thing. And you might say, I don't need that much money, Colin. Like, I'm just content. Well, yeah, that's cool. But what about the rest of your team? Like, do you not care about them making money? Because for me, like, if I have a sales rep making less than 6 figures, I'm like, what the heck? Why aren't you making 6 figures? Where am I failing you? Or where are you failing us? Right? One of the two is happening. That's it. Either I'm not giving you leads or you're doing a crappy job selling. And they're always like, oh, no, it's not me. I promise. I'm going all in. Well, let's see. And we dig in, right? I don't want people to not make money in my business. My goal is for them to all make a crap ton of money. So why would I stop? Why would I stop growing this thing? Why would I stop being the premier place to work in my town? Why would I want to give up that name? My first boss, actually the boss that I worked for at the supply house, is now coming to work for me. That's pretty cool. He's the one who encouraged me to get into this thing. And he went out and he started his own business and did great in the cannabis industry and whatnot. And now that has plummeted. And now he's like, hey, I can't make that type of money anywhere else but working for you. Can I come in? Yeah, absolutely. Let's talk. That's a pretty cool feeling. All right. That's a really cool feeling. That's the talk of the town. People, not the talk of the town, but when people ask, where can you make money? Where can you make 6 figures plus in this town? They say one-way exteriors. We provide opportunity. That's it. Build your business on those things. Pivotal things that you have to do when you first start your business is have core values and live and die by these core values. All right. The community will know you for your core values and how you conduct business. Simple. All right. Make them simple. They don't have to be crazy. Ours are, we don't lie, we do what's right, and we give bigly. That's it. Very simple. Like, some people try and get all crazy and like with we don't lie, like we act with the utmost integrity on every single job, treating every customer as if they were our grandparents. Nobody's going to remember that. All right. Nobody cares about that. We don't lie. Oh, guess what? People remember that one. All right. They love to throw it in your face when they feel like you're lying to them. All right. I'm not lying. You just don't want to accept the truth. Your house, your roof is a mess. Like, I don't want to put gutters on this unless you get a new roof. Okay, you can get a roof from somebody else. Call us when it's done. I don't care. It's not an upsell thing. It's me being integrous. Like, if I put gutters on and you hire somebody else to do the roof, guess what? Or if I put gutters up, it's not gonna catch all the rain because it's leaking through your soffits, dude. Like, it's the reality of the situation. People just don't like to hear it sometimes. So people remember simple core values, live and die by them, and it makes growing your team way easier. So just a few things I would do different if I started my business today. I wouldn't go out and spend all the money myself. I would try and stay off of the truck, because for me, being a hands-on guy, I think y'all know I've got my little hobby farm that hopefully is not much of a hobby farm. Hopefully it's life for me in a few years. But you know, I love working with my hands. I get fulfilled by working with my hands. I don't love doing this. I definitely hate being on my computer or anything. So for me, it was really, really difficult to get off the truck. It was really difficult to release that that control of making sure every install was perfect. So I would, now that I know that about myself, I would do everything in my power to stay off the truck. When we added roofing, I've never laid or nailed a shingle for my company. When we added windows, I've never installed windows for my company. When we added siding years ago, I never installed siding for my company. It was important to me that I didn't do that because I knew I'd get stuck, all right? So know yourself and avoid some of those pitfalls that a lot of people put themselves into. So that's what I'd do differently if I was starting my business 10 years, 1 month later.